Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. I am super excited today to welcome Dr. Jerri Johnson, an educator, consultant, and author with over 2 decades of experience shaping classrooms, leadership, and literacy nationwide. From the principal's office to university halls, she's dedicated her life to helping others lead, learn, and grow. Her journey as an educator, leader, and visionary carries the heartbeat of transformation, reminding us that teaching is not just instructional, but illumination. Together, we will explore how education transcends the classroom, the power of purpose in leadership, and what it truly means to nurture a culture of learning and possibility. I dedicate this episode to the awakening of more heart-led leadership in education, and to all the teachers and learners rewriting what's truly possible. She looks fabulous. She's glowing in the sun and she's got flowers all around her. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. You make me sound so good. I love it.
Well, I'm only reading off what you sent me, so you set the foundation very high, my honey. So you're so welcome. Yeah, education. As someone else who it's been a huge part of my life and continues to be a huge part of my life. Where did it all start from?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. High school.
Wow.
So when I was in high school, I was in my sister, I have a twin sister. We were AP students, and by senior year, we were finished with all of our classes, but we didn't want to graduate early. We wanted to stay with our class. And so I ended up taking a class. We had a daycare, an early childhood center attached to our high school. And it was typically for the young ladies who may have had, children in high school and or people in the community. And so I took a class where I was teaching 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds.
Wow.
For a portion of my day. I was like in this early childhood center, and that's what kind of sparked, my wanting to teach. Now that kind of shocked my mom, who wanted a doctor and a lawyer, out of my sister and I, when I ended up not doing physical therapy in college, but switched my major to education because the spark was just in me. I wanted to be a teacher, a PE teacher first, but then I ended up being in the classroom. And so that's where it all started, man. And it hasn't stopped from there. And for years, people have asked me, I guess the way that I carry myself and the way that I do things, people have asked me, how have I lasted in education so long? I guess because I don't know. Some people say I have that educator, look, and some people say, well, you seem like you should be in corporate somewhere. But it's just always been something that has fueled me. It's ever changing. You can be very creative in the space if that is you, and that's what you can be very innovative depending on where you are. Many systems, they want you to do things a certain way, but I've never really fit into those types of systems. So I really have to be cognizant of where I'm accepting positions to and things like that, because I know how I want to do things, and I know that I want to be creative and innovative. And if I can't tap into that side of me, I'm not going to be happy doing it. So, it's kept me in the field of education and education adjacent all of my career.
Wow,
That one class sparked a whole lifetime of
wow.
what I've been doing.
That's amazing. And you can absolutely still hear that passion and that spark now. And as someone who, as I said, was predominantly in education, that is really key. because
Yeah.
we're not only one, like what you say, going in and thinking creatively, we are also heavily inspiring those around us, whether that's positively or negatively. And I think sometimes, which is a shame, which like the comment you received, sometimes the the profession as a whole has some quite negative stigma attached to it, and it's such a shame. And that's why I'm glad you are so passionate and you're in education, because often I'm finding that those who don't feel they can express and feel kind of held to this certain way are often leaving it, and this is why this is so important to change. And I can see you're ready to want to talk about this, and I'm really happy, because that's the key here is. And I remember someone saying it to me once, and it wasn't I gave up on education, I just had a new spark with something else I was very interested in. But someone said, when I was saying about certain things, oh, so what, you just do nothing about it then? And I remember that hurt so deeply to the core. And I can see, I want you to speak now, because I can just see yeah, no, it's a really, and I know we are definitely aligned here, and there's definitely like that elephant in the room, and I think it just really needs to be addressed.
You know what? The shame that people try to put on educators is real. I
Yeah.
mean, it is real. And just because someone, it's any profession, just because someone chooses to step away from something does not mean that they no longer care
Mm.
about it. I'm going to tell you right now, I chose to step away from K-12 education and that system because I recognized that I didn't fit in that system.
Hmm.
Like, I have to find the right K-12 system for me that's
Yes.
going to allow me to do my job, which is educate children. It's
Yeah.
not to monitor children, to
Hmm.
monitor adults, to try to manage people. I want to lead. I
Yes.
want to innovate. I want to create. Those are the things that fuel me and make me happy, joyful, and just productive in the job that I have. Don't you want people to be productive? I mean,
Exactly.
don't you want people to, especially when they're working around children,
Yes.
don't you want people to be happy? I wanted teachers to be happy. I wanted the teachers to be joyful walking through the door in the morning, not dreading walking through the door. So I tried to create cultures where
Beautiful.
everyone felt good when they walked through the door, a climate where people were received when they walked through the door, a climate of customer service and servant leadership. I mean, do not make people feel bad because their mental health is struggling because they're in a system where they don't feel like they can be the best that they can be.
Yes. Yeah.
That is, to me, that's shame on you for
Hmm.
doing that to somebody,
Yeah.
because that means that you must not be happy where you are. You know what I'm saying? You want people who are around children every day to want to be there.
Yes.
So as a leader, you got to create the environment and the climate for them. And it's not always just fun. It's we come in here to do work. I
Yeah.
used to tell my teachers, I'm working, if you're not working as hard as me, I'm going to have a problem with that. However, we're going to have fun. Kids are going to learn. Kids are going to want to come here. Parents are going to want to come here. That's the type of environments that I wanted in the schools that I led.
Absolutely.
But it was nothing wrong if a teacher ever came to me and said, Dr. Johnson, I don't feel like I can be in this environment anymore. No problem.
Hmm.
You have to do what's best for you. And I am not the one to judge you for that or blame you for wanting to leave, because in some instances I totally understand. I have had to leave certain environments because it was not good for me, my mental health, or my family, at the time, and things like that. So shame on them for doing
Absolutely.
that to you. you know?
Oh no, no, no. Mine actually was entirely my choice. I never dreaded going to work.
Good.
I
Okay.
loved being a teacher. No, it was just I basically was doing the typical thing where you have one foot in one water and one in another, and everything was growing and something had to give. And actually, we always still have that teacher within us. I will always be, an educator and a teacher. And even this, to some extent, has the skills. With everything crosses over. But going back to what you said, I definitely had those types of conversations with other people, seeing other things going on, which, yeah, and if from a younger age, something really important that you mentioned, I don't know why, but I just feel like this is really important, particularly for maybe new teachers or whatever, and I'd love your take on this to hear. And I know it's a confidence thing as you get older, but if someone was to tell me that all those times in those interviews when I applied, that, Shelley, do you even want the job? Because it's not, and you said this so beautifully. I know you didn't use these words, but it is like a family culture. Not every school is the same. And we apply and we go for these jobs, and it's out with you and this person, and we take it so personally, and it's nothing to do with us, because actually it's a blessing, because you, like what you said, there's a certain environment, a certain feel that you, particularly as a leader of that school, want to cultivate. And so even with that, taking a step back or receiving that feedback, like, that's actually something that, even if someone is leading, that is important as a leader, because that person is giving you insight into something. So yeah, I think, and it's so ironic, because the moment I realized, hold on, do you need to equally be almost interviewing the other person, because do you
Absolutely.
want to be in this school? And the moment I did that and it flipped, it was like, it wasn't even like an interview anymore,
Right.
because it's important. It's so important. Even down to the frameworks, the routine, the
Yes.
breaks, so much. Whether you're going to do external journey duties or not, it's a big. I think it's one of those, and this is just my view. I think it's one of those. It can be to some people, but not to me, because it's other people's lives. It's
Yes.
not a job in that sense. These were my babies that year,
Exactly.
and I was the mother hen in charge of them. So particularly when they're little ones. So yeah, I think it's super important, instead of seeing the salary and the job and whatever else, is this school actually the best fit for you? Because they're all different.
Exactly. They're all different, and unfortunately, a lot of times you don't know if that's the best fit until you get in there.
Exactly.
Because and it's nothing to do, with administrators. I needed teachers too. You know what I'm saying? When I was a principal, I needed teachers too. I needed bodies in classrooms.
Mhm.
However, as a principal, I had to, when I was interviewing people, I wanted to give them a real view of what they
Mm.
were going to be dealing with on a daily basis. So the questions I asked weren't necessarily the HR questions.
Yeah.
The feedback I gave them when they gave questions, when they would ask me questions, was real about what it was you were going to need to deal with every
Yeah.
day. In this particular school, with this particular population, with this going on, and the things that I'm trying to put in place as a principal, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be some work.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to know that we are all here and we are all grinding together. You will be supported. These are the ways that you're going to be supported.
Mm.
Is there another way? I would ask questions like, what do you feel like you need support in?
Yeah.
Before I even make a decision on hiring you, I have to know whether or not I feel like I have the capacity and the the actual resources to be able to help you when you come in here.
Absolutely.
So it's just it's a struggle to try to figure out which environment you actually need to be in sometimes, because you don't know until you know.
Absolutely.
You don't know until you get in there.
Yeah.
And that's with a lot of, that's with corporations, that's with nonprofits that I've worked in, everything. Like, people will put on a good show to make it seem like, everything is coming up roses, and you get in there and everything is not.
Yeah. And that's it, isn't it? It's just that transparency on both sides. Like, even, because I remember my big key thing was doing supply, and it was like the back door, if you like. But it actually, and I'm not saying that I'm not encouraging people to do this, but if you really haven't had much experience and you're unsure, I think it's such a great way to really get a feel for different schools, different children, different backgrounds, and actually throw yourself in the deep end, because one minute you could be in this year group, then this year group, be given a plan, be not given a plan, just do this, be pulled here. And I honestly, I think particularly anyone in education, you should, I'm not advocating people to do this, but you should experience this, because you will definitely learn, one, a lot about yourself, and two, a lot about different schools.
That is true. I told my daughter, it's a funny story, I told my daughter that, and my daughter is on a gap year right now. She's getting ready to go to graduate school. She's in athletic training, but my daughter has been teaching kindergarten.
Yeah, I saw kindergarten a lot. I know what you mean.
And so, even she came to me and was like, Mom, do you think I could do this? Before she interviewed for it, because she didn't think anybody would hire her without a teaching degree. But, schools in the U.S., they can't, charter schools especially, have a certain percentage of teachers that they can hire that aren't certified. And I said, you can do anything that you put your mind to. I believe that people can teach who are not certified, because honestly, most colleges and universities don't really prepare. I'm just going to be honest. Don't really prepare teachers,
I agree.
people going into education for what's going on in the classroom. No. I believe people need to be in the classroom earlier. Yeah. I got a whole soapbox on that. They try their best, but they don't. They don't prepare them for education. And so I told my daughter she could do anything that she put her mind to, and she's been doing fabulously. Amazing. Of course, she's been asking me questions. I've been coaching her through some stuff and things like that, but it's people say that old adage of everyone who can't do or something can teach.
Oh, see,
not true.
I'm okay. I go to them. Okay. Do you want to go do that for a week? Because I tell you something, if you have any healing, I'm going to tell people the fast track to heal everything that you want to heal. Go and be a teacher, because I'll tell you what, those little cuties are not so cute when they tell you everything that you want to not hear about yourself. They will tell you it, and then the next one will tell you it. And I tell you what, you will learn to heal. Or learn to sit with yourself and really contemplate what you've just been told.
Listen, I have seen grown men humbled by a classroom of fourth graders. So I've seen grown men cry in school dealing with these kids. So my thing is this: if you want to, and you have the fortitude to, and you don't mind being humbled, which you really need to be okay with being humbled, then yes, try teaching. Yeah. I would say that, we want good people who want to be around kids in classrooms. But if you are not that person and you're just taking the job to take the job, you're damaging kids. And to me, that is the worst that you can do. You should not be in classroom damaging kids and their livelihoods, because you would not want somebody to do that to your child. Exactly. So that's what people really need to sit in, is would you want someone to do this to your child? And I used to ask teachers, would you want your child going to this school? Would you want them in your classroom?
I think that's
and we have to think about that. Yeah, when we
because a lot of them don't, and that makes you really think, because it's like, surely, and it's not a judgment, and I know they could say, oh, I don't want to see my kids, there's excuses, but if you really truly felt that the school you were not only working at but representing was the best that it could be, why would you not send your child to it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I am loving this conversation. It's really important. And yeah, and more than that, like what you literally touched on, when we're thinking about the things unfolding in this world and what's going on, because we need to think about the bigger picture. Do we want to contribute to that more, or do we want to change that? So even in that, stepping back a little to zoom out and truly look at what's going on, actually, it's people going back in, or with a new approach, newer way to change things, because clearly there are things that need to be really considered, like for example, creating safe and supportive spaces. Like, I know we have certain regulations and things we follow, but I remember particularly for me, and I just happened to be in a performing arts role at the time, but I remember particularly children with additional needs really liked that sense of touch. And I know, it wasn't a typical classroom setup with the tables and the chairs, but I remember one particularly used to sit on my lap, and I remember they'd be saying, if anyone walks around, you need to get that child off your lap. And I'm like, but actually, you're going to see a very different child and a very different environment if I take this particular routine away, because this child is actually calm and settled and listening right now. Right. And I think we really need to change the way education looks, because again, they do the notes, and that one was writing on something, that one was picking something, that one was looking at the sky. But actually, did you really ask that child if they took in the information? Because that child actually knows everything that I just said, but it's too intense for them to sit there thinking about sitting up straight. They're taking that knowledge in, because doing this, they are able to actually listen carefully, because now they're looking at whatever's going on and they're overstimulated. Right. It's not always the case. There are little cheeky monkeys, but trust your teachers, trust what's unfolding, and try to see a little bit wider than just the way it looks. Actually go and ask the children. Really trust what's happening, because again, if it's all performance and stuff, and that, do you think that teacher really, if they think, oh, I'm coming in to be observed, are going to have that child writing on something if it's got to look perfect? They're showing you that because they want you to see how that child is processing at their highest. But I don't know, it's like almost like a, I don't want to say it for everything, but like a slippery carpet sometimes, It
is. It's a slippery slope, and it's a fine line to walk.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like, I'm a habitual line stepper. Like, I will step on the line, I will wear that line out, but I'm not a person who likes to cross the line a lot unless it is for the benefit of kids. Otherwise, I will stay within the framework you've given me, but just let me do it the way I want to within that framework. And you make a great point in the fact that all kids they learn differently. Some can pay attention and still be doing other things. That actually helps them focus. You have teachers like that. I had to differentiate for teachers. And get them to understand, hey, like, your desk looks like a hurricane. right now. But when I ask you for something, they go get it.
Yeah.
Right from, so they have organized chaos on their desk. I may not like the way that looks. I may ask them, can you at least stack it instead of everything,
But having a conversation first,
Right.
Instead of writing a report and putting them on like this program now, when they've done this many, let's have some faith, yeah? Let's stop writing these programs and putting teachers who just need some love and support are now like being monitored. Like, let them breathe,
But the thing is, they don't see them as, well, in the United States, because I've been to other countries where they actually respect teachers.
Yeah.
They actually respect educators, and you can tell the difference. But in the United States, they don't look at educators as professionals. When educators make so many decisions, tens of thousands of decisions in a day, just like doctors, basically. You telling me you don't respect that they are creating the doctors, they are creating the attorneys, the entrepreneurs, all these. So, I mean, how is it not a profession, and why can't it be respected as such? Every profession has bad apples, especially as we see in this world today, all the way to the top. Okay? So, like, you cannot punish everybody. You wouldn't want me to punish a whole classroom of kids for one kid or two kids or even 5 of them out of 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, come on, man. Let's treat, and I used to tell the people that I led this, I will treat you as the professional that you are until you show me that you're not.
Yeah.
Then we got another conversation to have.
But that's a leader. Leader isn't, like everyone's best friend. You still have that duty of care, responsibility, and it's, being the leader in whatever sense, it's representing you. So of course, absolutely. Like, it's not saying not to do all these things anymore, but I just think, I just think sometimes, particularly like what you're saying, if a teacher particularly has some sort of mental health, maybe putting them on a monitoring program and writing reports about them, I feel, this is just my personal opinion, is probably not the best thing they need right now. Maybe they need a little bit of like, do you know what? I know you're going through a conversation, but in a month, I'm going to come back and I know you're going to be even better and you're going to be even bolder, and I'm going to see you at your highest again. Is there anything I can support you in the meantime? Not, I'm coming in next week and I'm going to check on you again.
Exactly. Or I'm coming in and, every other day.
Oh yeah, not even telling a time. I'm just going to drop in. Oh, even better.
Just give them more anxiety. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, the field of education today, working with schools across the country, it's the same stuff, different day. No matter what type of school district it is, the emotion is heightened. People have a lot of anxiety coming to school. Kids are showing, a lot of the signs of stress and anxiety. So what they have to deal with every day in the context of being in a building with all these different personalities and all this different stuff going on. You tell me what other profession has to deal with that?
But even this whole drop-in thing, would someone, I don't know exactly, but I can imagine that someone wouldn't say to a doctor or a lawyer, I'm just going to drop in on you.
Right.
Yes, we have little people in the classroom, they are vulnerable, but you already hired that person, did the checks to ensure that they are safe with those children. So what is this over analyzing, over monitoring, over grading someone that has done the same? I just think, I don't know, I just think you can see how sometimes the love goes, because the poor person is just trying to get through the day, let alone even have a full cup to pour into these beautiful little minds that are eager, like sponges, to know everything. So yeah, I know I know we're joking, we're laughing, and we're saying, examples, but I really think that people listening really, need to really think about these things, and even down to this whole cameras in the classroom again. Would you put a camera in someone's private office, and even when that's not that, their little I remember once his little watch, his mum was on the phone while I'm doing the carpet input, and I said, what's that noise? Oh, it's mummy wants to know what we're doing. I'm like, no, like, this is not on. Like, what is going on? Mummy, please put the phone down.
This is why you have parents, though, flipping out in the US about not having cell phones. Like, kids not having cell phones during the day. Like, they are banning cell phones and all wearable tech in schools. Yeah. And they're putting them in pouches and, setting them somewhere, or either carrying them with them for the day. And people are flipping out. It's like, why? They're at school. Like, they could be anywhere else. And people always try to, talk about school shootings and this and that. There's shootings happening on the corner at the corner store. There's shootings happening in churches. Come on, guys. Like, they're at school. They need to focus at school. And every research study has shown that this technology is very distracting. It takes 20 to 30 minutes for them to refocus after they've been distracted by a phone. Think about that. You're in a 50-minute class in middle school, 50 minutes, and your phone goes off. You're distracted for the next 20 minutes. Wow. You have missed half of the class. Just from one text.
As an adult, like, even as a teacher, you're not going to have your phone on seeing, like, because again, if it you could be and we have the capacity. We've built that resilience. These little minds haven't, No. I think you're absolutely incredible. I know that you haven't just got it started. You are really running. And I know much more than just people hearing this for educational terms. I know that particularly people that haven't thought about this or really been in this situation, this will open their minds. Like, we are saying funny examples, but just look a little beyond the humor and actually, as both sides, all sides, that these are real examples of real children, real people in real circumstances that they are doing daily. And let's really think about not just the well-being of our future generation, but of those that have, put themselves in that situation to want to pour into the younger generation. And let's have some faith, some compassion, and some love, and some trust that the more we can pour into them and trust them, the more they can pour into others. And I just think it's just creates such a more beautiful, loving culture.
It does. It does. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of everybody when people can just trust that when their child goes to school. And I know bad examples are everywhere of what happens
everywhere in life. Let's say
kids
life.
Go to school. Yeah, everywhere in life. There are, things that are happening that are unaddressed in schools and things like that. Once again, leadership many times. But I would do the same as you, is encourage people that if you are sending your child to school, that you do have trust and faith and a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Because they're dealing with, classrooms full of kids and not just your kid.
Yeah.
Or children. And that's a lot going on. Different personalities, people bringing different kids, bringing different things to school, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that it's not just all about us.
Yeah.
Especially when our kids go to school. It's not just all about us. It's not just all about our kids. In your home, you can say, well, I'm not worried about anything else because mine is good. But when your child goes to school, you send them out into this world, that's not the way it rolls.
Absolutely.
That's just not reality.
Yeah. Oh, you're an absolute gem. And just one final thing before you go. It doesn't have to be linked to education. But I just love my guests. Obviously, if there's anything you want to share as well before that, you're more than welcome. But I always love my guests to just say off the top of their mind, whatever comes to it, if there's something that you really think someone listening right now would benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
Let's see. I like to always say to myself that everything is working for me and not against me.
Beautiful.
So when things come, like, and I say this because I know everything going on around us in this world is very chaotic right now. It seems like the chaos just continues and continues. When you think it's dying down, something else pops up. So I would just say that if something happens to you, or if something is going on today, it's working for you. It's not working against you. And in time, you will see why certain things happen the way that they did. And I know the waiting is the hardest, but believe me, on the other side of the wait, typically is some good stuff.
I 100% agree. Yeah. Particularly when there's a lot that seems to happen all at once. I'm like, okay. Well, the only way is up. So I'm excited for that up. But boom,
there
boom,
you go.
boom. Okay, let's go, yalla.
That is so true.
Surely not another whack on the head.
You just have to say okay and keep it moving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I've absolutely loved this. You're incredible. Keep shining, keep inspiring, and yeah, let's keep making this world a better place for all. You're incredible.
Thank you.